Arousal disorder per se in women is as good as the low sexual desire which is there. Okay. So sexual pain is again, it's in a way a manifestation of the negative attitude. Okay. Now, so I will tell you the sexual pain during intercourse is called as dyspareunia. Dyspareunia has broadly two categories. One is if there is some local pathology in the genital part. So if the vulva or the vagina or the uterus or the pelvic part, anywhere, if any trauma is there, if any infection is there, or anything going wrong, something, then that can give rise to pain while you are attempting to have sex. However, this is not the most common thing. The second part is a much more common thing, which is called as vaginismus, which means whenever there is an attempt to penetrate, the vaginal muscles go in a spasm, they contract. And because they go in a severe spasm, this severe spasm creates pain. So, and once they are in a severe spasm, any penetration attempt is made, that gives rise to severe pain. So vaginismus is something which as a psychiatrist I deal with more. The local pathology I don't deal with more. So I would talk of vaginismus more today, right? Why does this happen? Again, the same thing. In childhood, the repeated conditioning is this is bad, avoid, this is bad, avoid, don't do, don't do, don't do. Now just imagine for a minute. As soon as we hit puberty, all of us, because of the way God has made us, every few hours we feel hunger in our stomach and we want to take food because that's how the God has made us, made our body and physiology to function. Similarly, once we are pubertal, our physiology is made in a way that we desire, we get attracted to the other gender. And people say, hormones have started to work. Yes, they've started to work. Now, when the hormone starts to work, we get attracted, and natural thing is we should have a desire to have sex. So I hit my puberty somewhere around 13, 14, 15, and I get married at the age of 25. Now, 13 to 45, what am I supposed to do with the sexual desire I have? So the society around tells me, control, don't do it, bad thing, restrict it. So for so many years, society as well as I myself will be telling myself, control, control, don't do, don't do, don't do. Now, so many years of programming goes in the subconscious, and the subconscious doesn't want it. Now, when the female is getting married, she consciously wants it. She definitely is not thinking, I don't want it. She definitely is excited. But the subconscious programming is so strong that it goes in spasm. So this is one of the most common causes. So those who are from orthodox religious backgrounds, vaginismus is very common in them. The second common reason can be if someone has heard, intercourse is very painful. Or if a gynec examination is done sometime, and if that was a painful experience, then the memory stays in their mind. It might be very painful. So the pain of anticipation is there. So for whatever reason, if someone has experienced pain once, then they keep anticipating it will happen. And that anticipation makes the vagina contract because they don't want the pain. So the vagina contracts. So be it vaginismus because of a negative attitude or because of any other cause, once it takes place, the woman thinks all her friends would tell. All her friends would tell her, just do it. She would go and tell her friends, I'm getting pain, what should I do? And the friends will say, everyone gets pain, Baba, just do it. So then she feels, okay, I'm only not trying. So then she would try more. And the more number of times she tries, the more number of times she experiences the pain, stronger the conditioning becomes, I don't want it. So vaginismus is a negative cycle in which the woman gives up attempting after some time. And because she doesn't want to keep failing. Okay. Now the solution is relatively very easy. So the solution broadly is of two types. One is the negative conditioning needs to be corrected. So whatever it is which is contributing to the negativity, be it negative programming, religious background, be it child sexual abuse experience or whatever, that needs to be dealt with. Yeah, so that's one. And second, there is something called as gradually training the vagina to relax. So vaginal dilators come. Now they are also called as trainers because they are actually not supposed to dilate the vagina. The vagina is already a spacious thing. It is just contracting. So you don't have to dilate it. You just have to train the muscles to relax. So vaginal dilators generally come in 4 sizes. I won't tell the detailed procedure, but broadly I'll just explain. Okay, what they do is we ask them to first use the smallest dilator, and they are surprised when it goes in. They're like, how could something go in? Because their experience was nothing can go in. So when it goes in, it gives a big reassurance to their mind. It is possible. Then before we even start with the trainers, we teach them certain relaxation techniques with which their mind and their body is in their control. Kegels exercises are some exercises of the genital muscles which are used in various contexts, but here the focus is not on strengthening them. The focus is on bringing the woman's awareness on it, and she gaining the capacity to consciously relax them at will. So when she attempts intercourse, and even if they contract, if she is able to relax them at will, then the pain will go away. Okay. So in short, when we train them in relaxation exercises and in gradually gaining control over it through increased size of dilators, after that, 95 to almost 100% women are able to have normal painless sex within a matter of few weeks to few months. However, the problem is that most women don't even seek help, because sexuality is something which we shouldn't be talking of. As soon as we raise the topic, everyone would be looking down and people are very uncomfortable. So there are doctor couples who don't approach for help before 2 to 3 years. And it is quite routine for us to have couples dealing with vaginismus who have been 3, 4, 5, 6 years and they have not approached anyone for help. That is problem one. Problem two, even when they approach for help, many a times, even many doctors are not aware of exactly what this thing is. Only those who are in sexology practice per se, or those psychiatrists, gynecologists who are in this field, they would know it better. But majority doctors don't, unfortunately, know it better. So they don't get the right advice for a long time. So, and then, yeah, so what I want to say is we won't be discussing all the disorders in detail. But the bottom line I want to tell everyone is most sexual disorders are easily treatable. And therefore, what is important is whenever you are facing with something, rather than avoiding it, seek help at the right time, and that would solve a lot of mess. What most psychologists and psychiatrists would be comfortable to help a person dealing with it. Most gynecologists would not be too comfortable or equipped to help a person dealing with it. The point is a person usually treating them or not? So if a particular gynecologist is practicing sexology also, or is practicing helping vaginismus also, then you definitely go. But if a gynecologist is just giving you dilators and saying, okay, solve it, use it, that is not enough. So then that's not just enough. That knowing the tool but not knowing what to do with it. So a lot of people from various branches of medicine practice as a sexologist. So either a psychiatrist, a sexologist, or a counselor. You can go to any of them. So that's first one. Second, a lot of women, because vaginismus is so painful and they have undergone the repeated failures, they start, I don't want it, but I don't want it. What is your problem? And a husband who is sensitive to her needs would try to encourage her. Okay, it's not just about me. I want you also. And she said, but I don't want. Why are you bothered? Now, what I would really try to gently encourage you. It's more, according to me, it's more like grapes are sour because they are very high. So because it is not happening, you are saying you wouldn't like it. But I want to reassure you, if it starts happening, then of course it is, even if you don't want it, the partner wants it. And second, for you also, once it starts happening, you'll be very thankful. Oh wow, I solved it and I'm able to enjoy it. Okay, so I would really encourage you, it is solvable. So why not just get it done rather than I just want like it. Fine. So that's answer one. Where to get help? As I said, yeah. So approach any therapist or psychiatrist or a sexologist for it. My two gynec friends have started a self-help group for women with vaginismus. Okay, so so their email ID, I'll just say one of the email IDs now. It is Taru Jindal 23 @gmail.com, and the other email ID is Dr. Tejashri Ghosh @gmail.com. Or you can just send to them and they will forward it. So this self-help group, yeah, so it is Taru Jindal 23. Yeah. Most probably these are correct ones. If they don't respond within a day, let me know and I will get it right. Okay. So yeah. So we my colleagues have started this group because a lot of women have hesitation to approach. So if they want to first get it clear and if they want the support of other women who are willing to do the same thing, then they can join this support.